All right, guys. It's been a little bit since I've covered the Dolphins or football, but I've been working on a new system. I don't have the tech guy. Got a new camera over there. Got some audio stuff over here. And Cro-Magnon Curtis, it took a little bit to get him to figure this stuff out without losing the little hair he has left. Anyway, was under the weather too. So now I'm back in the game. I'm going to try to improve the graphics, the camera work, and the audio thing as time goes on. But I think I got it in a decent spot. So anyway, last couple of days I've been wondering what is going on with Hill and Waddle and this pass game. Now, clearly, Tua being down is a big piece of the puzzle, but this past game didn't look so hot week one and week two. Week one, obviously, we had some good numbers, but it was wonky, a couple of big plays. Week two was terrible with Tua, and then obviously it didn't look so good after that. Hill and Waddle, Hill's 30 million, Waddle is 20 million, lots of picks between them. You're expecting this pass offense that we built over the last couple of years to be driving the football a lot more with these two guys being lead dogs, at least one of them having a big game every week. But that's not the case. So I dug into next gen stats. I dug into PFF, not their ratings, the actual raw data stuff, and found some interesting stuff. I'm not going to put my foot in the ground on everything, but there is some pretty clear stuff. So I want to dig into those stats and then show you some prototypes that are kind of like Hill and Waddle as far as the smaller, fast guys and see how they're comparing on the season. So that's going to be the whole thing for today. I'm going to be with Steve Malloy tomorrow on the live. Tomorrow, Tuesday, 6:30 Central Time. And my live's coming back this week on Friday. Guys, I'm sorry I've been away, but I'll be calling you this week for the live. So that would be the whole deal. So guys, the likes, subscribes, the comments, the views, all that stuff keeps Curtis in the biz to do what he's doing. So everything you can do to help me out with that keeps me doing my thing. So you guys have done a lot, a ton. I'm so grateful for all you have done. So I want to give you a shout out and a shout out to Ace Bread, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so Hill was voted the number one player in the NFL, and his production ain't showing it. Waddle is supposed to be very, very good. The two of them together are supposed to be two of the most prolific and talented receivers that we've seen in a long time. So I got my little graphic here. You can see the image, Hill yards, Waddle yards, team pass defenses that they played against, and the weeks. Week one, Hill had 130 yards. A big play. It was kind of quiet then. The big plays came out. Waddle only 37, but that was the 32nd ranked pass defense. We didn't know at the time, but that was a terrible and is a terrible pass defense. Clearly got some issues, but you don't go to 32nd unless you're really bad at your core. Week two, only 24 yards for Hill, 41 for Waddle, but that was against the Bills' number 6 pass defense. Find a correlation? I don't know. Week three, 40 for Hill, 26 for Waddle, 14th ranked pass defense. And then week four, the Titans, before that was Seahawks, then the Titans, 23-36 against the number 2 pass defense. Week five against the Patriots, 69 yards, 46 yards. And that was the 26th pass defense. Now, Hill's had his two best games, 130 and 69. It's crazy. It's his second best game after 5 weeks against the 32nd and 26th best pass defense, worst pass defense. Waddle, his best game was against the Patriots. His third best game was against the first week against the Jags, 32nd. So there's a loose correlation. I'm not going to say it's definite, but I'm going to show you some real stuff that says defenses are playing these guys different, and there seems to be some effect. Obviously, always with the caveat that Tua is not in there. But also those first two games weren't so hot. So Hill, you're going to see this Hill and Waddle, catch percentage, how many times they were targeted, how many receptions they made out of those targets, cushion, how much distance the defense is giving them, separation, how much separation they're getting from the receivers, from the defenders, their average rack yards, average air yards the ball is getting to them, and total yards on the day. I'll go down section by section. So Hill is broken up into 23 and 24, so you can see comparison. Hill has a 12% drop in his catch percentage. That's big. Got to factor some of that in for Tua. But you could see he wasn't really having hot games those first 2 weeks. So he's taken a big step back, however you want to slice it. And that's not good. Now, Waddle stepped it up 75 to 69. But here's where the interesting things start happening with the defenses. Cushion. They've bumped up the distance they're giving Hill by 0.3 yards. Last year was 5.8 to 6.1. But look what they're doing different with Waddle. Last year was 6.7 more than Hill, and now it's dropped to 4.9. That is tremendous. Clearly, some of that has to do with the quarterback, but that's a lot. That says something, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. Separation, Hill's bumped it up a little bit. A little more cushion. You think he gets a little more separation. Waddle, though, has gotten more separation this year, so they've been playing him a little bit tighter, and he's been using that speed or whatever to get over the edge, so he's bumped it up a little bit. Average rack yards for Hill's about the same either way, last year and this year. Waddle's bumped it up 0.6, so they're playing a little tighter, and he's getting a little bit more separation. He's getting a little more rack yards, but it's not really taking it to the house and breaking the big boy days out. But average air yards is very interesting too. So that's where the quarterback's targeting them. Last year was not only, but it was 10.8. It's been bumped up 2 yards to 12.8. That means he's getting targeted deeper, but he's also getting higher level cushion. And so that kind of doesn't always work out to be a good combo. Conversely, Waddle, his average air yards was 10 last year. Now it's dropped to 7.6, which is a lot. But considering they pressed the cushion down on him, they're kind of taking away that higher mid-range pass. And so that is a very interesting correlation. I'll dial in a little bit. Now, yards, 286 and 258, that's not bad, for a receiver, but not for these guys, not for what they're being paid, not for the expectations, and certainly not the talent. So now I'm going to compare them to some other guys. You're going to see some interesting stuff. Zay Flowers, the receiver for the Ravens, 401 yards, 7.4 cushion, 4.2 separation, 1.2 yak yards, and average air yards 7.9. So he's kind of in the range of Waddle, except they're playing much higher leverage. They fear his deep game way more than Waddle. I'm sure some of that has to do or solid point to Lamar. We can't draw an exact correlation because Tua is not here, but he's having great separation and huge cushion, and he's still doing his work, even though it's a little bit shorter. Worthy with KC, the rookie, 179 yards, 7.1 cushion, 4-point separation, 1.2 yak, 9.4 air yards. So they're playing him just almost as deep as Worthy, deeper than any of our guys, and they're hitting him a little bit deeper than Zay Flowers, but he's not having a great season, 179 yards, but you can see he's having some effect, not bad for a rookie. But you see the cushion and separation, very, very interesting. It's just better than both of ours, both of our players. Now, Shakir from the Bills, I put him in there because he doesn't really have much around him to work with to take the heat off. And you can say he's got Allen, but when you got Hill and Waddle, those two guys are supposed to work in tandem, and that's a better combination, even if you have a poor quarterback, or even if, obviously 2 is pretty good, but 3 games not. That's not indicative. But he's got 280 yards, more than Waddle, a little bit less than Hill. He's getting more a cushion, 6.9, more separation, 4.3, more yak, very tough against the pad, tried to tackle, 1.4. His average air yards is 8.3. So he's really having a better season than Waddle, and they're showing him more respect. Maybe, again, because of the arm of Allen. We can't really say. We got to drag this out over the season, but I think it's interesting. And then Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase was drafted with Waddle. He's supposed to be one of the top guys. He's in line with Hill. He's got Higgins with him, who's another good guy. He's obviously got Burrow, who's excellent. But they've been having some struggles. But you'll see a stock there. He's got 568 yards on the season. That's more than both Hill and Waddle combined. 81% target catch percentage. So it's better than Waddle and better than Hill. He's getting 6.1 yards, which is cushion the same as Hill. He's getting 3.4 yards separation, same as Hill. 1.1 yards average rack, so it's a little bit better than Hill, not as good as Waddle. And then average air yards, though, is 12.8. So he is outplaying Hill in a big way. And if Hill had two good games, the first game was pretty good. It was like one big play. Second game, not so much. But if both those games are good, I would say, well, just a quarterback. And I think a lot of it is, Huntley and Skyler over Burrow, but there is something off here. Because you can see he's getting similar stuff, and he's not even really getting targeted a lot, not compared to what Hill's getting. Higgins getting the lion's share of the catches. So let me dig into this last little part. You see the cushion difference. Last year, they played Hill a little bit more tight end, played Waddle way more leverage. Now they flipped it. They played a little bit off Hill and really tightened it up on Waddle. The average air yards, forcing Hill to get the ball deeper, but they have the higher cushion. That's not a good combo. And then you've got only 4.9 yards to Waddle. Hill, he's getting targeted at 7.6, and he is bumping up his rack, but those big explosive plays are not manifesting for some reason. Again, it could be Huntley, but if you watch what I said at the beginning of the season, defenses, it wasn't so much this week against the Patriots. They played a lot of big boxes, a lot of close leverage, but for the rest of the teams, they played high leverage in that box, which works to stop the pass. They played over coverage and over leverage in their secondary, and they did not fear the run game. And we didn't take advantage of it. Some people will say McDaniel should have called more. Some people say even if he did, it wouldn't have been as effective. However you slice it, they're daring Waddle to ruin this game and to draw attention off Hill and force a compression of coverage. Because if you pull back on Waddle, you're going to have to get a little bit tighter on Hill. And so it's this yin and yang thing, and it just does not seem to be working for some reason. When Tua comes back, maybe you can get Waddle off the schneid and make those big rack plays happen. Maybe you can get over the top because they're playing so tight, and that will free up Hill. Maybe the run game will open up in combination with this, and you can go back to your top-level offense. I think there's more to that. We have to see. You can't really straight eval because of Tua's injury, but these defenses are seeing something. They're saying, let's frustrate Hill, play over him, and let's see what Waddle does. And he hasn't got it so far. But I think if the run game happens, it's going to force that compression of that box leverage with the linebackers and the safeties. It's going to force, because remember, when you're playing high leverage, you don't know when it's going to be a pass for the most part. So generally speaking, you're seeing the defenses play this kind of look. And when it's a little bit off like that, the run game has more space and it gives more air to the run game. This is some of the things I'm talking about. If they're going to play this high leverage, and you got to punish them. So if you can run that football, you're going to be able to change some of these ratios they got and could throw them out of whack. Or if Waddle can break it open. Or if Hill can do his super duper magic and be the number one guy and start exploding, kind of like Jamar Chase is. So there is a different way, a different book. We saw a book develop, and then it got really tweaked as far as the individual matchups, how they viewed Hill and Waddle. Let's see how this plays out. I wouldn't say anything's conclusive, but clearly, obviously, the really bad pass defenses it worked against, and they've got a look that they feel very comfortable with, daring Waddle to be the man. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. A little shorter because I'm still getting nervous. I'm still nervous with this camera thing. So anyway, hopefully it looks good. Hopefully it sounds good. I will be working like a maniac to get it better. So I hope you enjoyed, guys. Catch up with you soon. Cursing. Be well. Go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.